and put them out long, far away. But I don't like spiders. So let's say Jessie comes up and says, hey, Shawna, I have a great idea today. She says, why don't you lay in this box right here? And I say, okay, I trust Jessie. Sure, okay. So I lay in the box. And then she kind of, straps me in a little bit. And I'm thinking, okay, weird, but, it's Jessie. We're good. And so we go along, and then she brings a front loader full of spiders. And she dumps them on me, strapped in the box. And now I'm horrified. And so I do what I can, but I can't do but so much. I'm on a halter lead rope. I'm on a, whatever. And so I can't do but so much. And I'm thinking, stop. And there's going to be a point where I just go, just quit. I'm just going to sit here until it's over. There's nothing else I can possibly do to get out of this. And I'm going to resign myself to that situation. And then Jessie goes, okay, good. You're great. You're over it. And she unstraps it, takes all those spiders away, lets me out. The next day she comes and says, Shawna, will you sit in this chair? No, Jessie, I won't. I'm not sitting in your chair, laying in your box, going in your hole. I'm not doing any of those things. Because now we have taken the biggest withdrawal, and now I don't trust anything she has to say or anything she's asking me to do. But what it looks like, we see this all the time. And if anybody does this, I'm not trying to be pinpointing these things, but we see it a lot, a halter and a lead rope and a flag. And it's being wafted back and forth, and the horse can be quite reactive for a while. And at a certain point, the horse stops reacting and is very much misunderstood as, look, he's better about it. Well, just because his body said, I can't do anything more about it, doesn't mean his head says, I like this, or I even accept this. They were like, I've done everything I can to do it. But if they can see that situation coming, the odds are they're going to say, I'm out before we even, this reminds me of this, which is this, which is this. So while the point may be we're trying to create desensitization, that's what we want out of it. We want a horse who says, oh, that's no big deal. Stuff like that is no big deal. What we've often created is sensitization. So we can, instead of me trusting Jessie about anything, I don't trust Jessie about anything. So now I start to go, if she makes a weird move, I'm going to be like, it's not the spider thing, is it? So it's now I'm kind of got a little triggered and a little sensitized to the things she's bringing to the equation. And if I didn't quite understand language in the first place, the whole world may feel a little scarier. So I think so the shutdown is oftentimes because they've realized there's nothing I can do. And so I'm going to check out. So you see those horses. And you can just see there's just a deadness that you're kind of like, there is not engagement in these places. And some of those horses, you'll be like, can we target? And you're like, can you keep your head to yourself? They're like, well, I don't mug you. I won't do anything. So you're like, oh, I'll just feed you. Okay, moving on. Now you can put a target in front of them, and they're like, and the gaze won't change. So, and it can be varying degrees, and it can be on specific things. There's certain things like, I'm engaged till I'm under saddle, or whatever it might be, So they can be, there can be learned helplessness in particular situations. As a child, I had learned helplessness about a particular portion of my life. I got increasingly more defiant as I got older in the other areas of my life. But, so those are places I could control and express, my fear, my worry, my out of control of my, nobody listening to me kind of pieces of my world. So you may have a horse who is quite big and about a lot of things. You're going to think that's not a shutdown horse, but certain areas. And yeah, I hear this a lot too. Oh gosh, he's just a mess, but he's great under saddle. And a lot of times that's because we've kind of maybe created that. And it happens with people not recognizing that they've been doing and that this has been a long-standing tradition in horses. Those people have learned to do this in some way, shape, or form. And that's just because we didn't know what was really behind it. So it wasn't the people out there to create ill intent anywhere, but it's just what we knew. And outwardly, it can look like, yeah, he does look way better now, doesn't he? And it would be hard to say no, that he didn't look better, because it's better from our perspective, but we didn't know his head was still in that same place it always was. The body just started showing it. So that would be a state of learned helplessness, and it's an important concept to understand. And I think that, and to begin to recognize, and it can be challenging. And then there's also those horses that their learned helplessness doesn't necessarily look like I'm just shutting down altogether. So like I will just robotically do everything I can to keep myself out of trouble. And that's a state of learned helplessness too, even though they might be quite responsive to these things. It's not free thinking things. They've been conditioned to respond in this way. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. So this